Hello. So welcome everyone. We're going to start Kathputli Utsav today. And welcome, thank you very much for coming. It was 4 years ago that I had the great privilege of meeting Vijay, who's the founder of the South Foundation. And he is setting up a charity in order to support self-sustainability of the community of artists in New Delhi. I visited the transit camp that the community are currently living in. They were moved from their homes on the promise of new development, new flats and new homes that has failed to materialise. Their original homes were in a prime piece of real estate in New Delhi, and that was taken from them, and their marginalisation as a consequence of their being moved from their homes has really impacted their sense of security and stability on their livelihoods. So currently the Kathputli Colony is struggling with extreme marginalisation. They're trying to keep the cultural heritage alive, and they have a tremendous community of artists and creatives who have performed at weddings, to presidents and to royalty. And they've got an amazingly proud tradition of magicians, dancers and performers who are really incredible, imaginative artists in their own right, and they have a long tradition and history of being that. Today, we've got great good fortune of watching a film. Thank you very much to Aggie for producing the film. It was going to be live, but because of COVID, we've changed the format and made it into a film in order to overcome some of the sort of viral and technical difficulties that COVID gave to us. And also thank you to Vijay, who has sent us a lot of footage, and the community for contributing to the films and the photographs. That I think has done an amazing job in compiling into a 40-minute session, which I'm totally sure you'll find amazing. Afterwards, there's going to be a panel discussion with the people you see here before us on the screen. I'll introduce the panelists after the film. In the meantime, what I'd like to do is encourage you to revisit the email that we sent you, and if you could donate to the community, that would be great. That any donations would be really gratefully received. That the community's been really hard hit over COVID because they usually performing weddings. Because of the weddings being cancelled, they haven't had their usual source of income. So to donate to the South Foundation, BJ has set up to support the livelihoods of the community would be much appreciated. So without any further ado, we'll watch the film.
My name is Vijay Maitri, and I live in Kathputli Colony. Kathputli Colony is a living heritage. We call it mini India because people from all over the part of India live together. And we have snake charmers, we have puppeteers, we have drummers, we have folk singers, dancers, food carvers, and many more. Why we call it living heritage? Because we are preserving, we are saving this tradition, this culture, this art from years. And Kathputli Colony is established 50 years ago in central heart of Delhi. And Kathputli Colony has this beauty that we have represented India to all over the world, from Queen Elizabeth bungalow to from Queen Elizabeth mansion to the palaces to Europe to America. We have traveled all over the world and represented India and showcase our art and culture. But now the biggest danger is the way the whole world is coming digitally. The OTT comes out. I feel these indigenous art and artists are in danger. We say art is the biggest hope of this world, but now I feel art and artists are hopeless. I feel this is the time where we all can come together, come forward, and do our bit and make some contributions And I think coming together can definitely save this whole community and Asia's biggest traditional art and Asia's biggest traditional art community. I feel at this time after COVID hit, our artists are daily wage performers. So we perform, we earn, we perform, we earn. That's how. But I think this is same for all of us. That if a national award puppeteer is now start rethinking to leave his profession and start selling biryani or start selling vegetables, I think this is the alarm, and this is the alarming situation for all of us, because I think in this way we are going to lose this rich art heritage and this whole artist community. I feel building a cultural space in Kathputli Colony can definitely recreate, innovate, and bring some beautiful and amazing innovations to this art and culture. We have craftsmen, we have all these amazing artists. So I feel this cultural space can definitely support and save this community, save this colony, save our art, and save our artists as well. Because I think in this creative space, I think we're gonna definitely start a learning center where where our kids gonna learn from their seniors, and the years of old puppeteers gonna teach the puppetry, the art of puppetry, drumming, and music. We're gonna record our music. We're gonna start doing productions, everything in this creative space. So we all are super excited, and this is the much more, I think, the most important need of the hour, where we can start our culture space in Kathputli Colony, and from where we can start documenting our art as well, and we can train our own young people to start doing this. So I feel at this current time, yes, artists and this community is in danger, especially after COVID. And I feel culture space can definitely revive this whole loss. Culture space can definitely support our aim, our dream, where we are looking that, where we have a space where we can perform, where we can experiment, where we can do peer learning, where we can do residencies, and also start our production and showcase our art. So we really want to create a space where people from all over the world can come together, we can learn from each other, and keep innovating and keep developing our art. So I think the question is not about saving the art. The question is how we can keep re-innovating and competing to this world. That's how digitalization has keep moving. So because the competition is between the digital OTTs and these traditional art forms, I think this is the time that how we all can come together and innovate, develop our art and art forms. So I really want to invite all the art lovers from all over the world. Let's come together and co-create a beautiful cultural space in Kathputli Colony. And it's not about saving this colony, it's not about saving this art. It's all about how we can keep renovating with our art, and keep developing our these all indigenous art and artists, and how we can create a beautiful space where we can all come together and keep learning from each other, and make a Kathputli Colony a biggest hub of indigenous art and artists. Thank you so much.
नमस्कार, घड़ी खम्मा। मैं जगदीश जयपुरी, फोक ट्रेडिशनल सिंगर राजस्थान से आज का ये परफॉर्मेंस प्रोग्राम आपको पेश कर रहे हैं। अभी काफ़ी पिछले 2 सालों से हम लोग काफ़ी परेशान हैं। जैसा कि फर्स्ट लॉकडाउन में हम लोग बहुत परेशान हुए थे, खाने पीने के भी लाले बढ़ गए थे। जो घर में कुछ बचा था, थोड़ा बहुत इधर उधर रखा हुआ था, वो खर्च किया। इसके अलावा कुछ मददगारों ने भी मदद की है हम सभी कलाकारों की कठपुतली कॉलोनी में। इसलिए बड़ी मुश्किलों से हम लोगों के परिवार चले हैं और अभी भी पोजीशन तकरीबन वहाँ की वहीं अटकी पड़ी है, क्योंकि इतना कोई सुधार नहीं आया है। ना ही हमें बाहर इतने प्रोग्राम मिल रहे हैं जैसे पहले मिला करते थे, क्योंकि हम लोग तो बिल्कुल लॉक हो गए। हमारे साथ में हमारी कला भी लॉक हो गई है। हम तो घरों में बंद थे, हमारी कला भी घरों में बंद हो गई है। लेकिन हम तो जितने भी हमारे जानने वाले हैं, सरकार है, मददगार है, उन सभी से हमारी प्रार्थना है, गुजारिश है कि हम कलाकारों की तरफ कुछ आपकी नज़र डालें और हमारे बच्चों की तरफ भी देखिए। हम भी हैं, बच्चे भी हैं, परिवार है, फैमिली है। हम लोगों को बहुत सी कठिनाइयों से गुजरना पड़ रहा है। इसलिए प्लीज़ आप सभी से विनती है, हमारी हेल्प कीजिए, प्लीज़ हेल्प कीजिए।
My name is Santosh Bhatt. I am puppeteer. I live in Kathputli Colony. देखा आप लोगों ने, वैसे कोरोना में पूरे संसार का बुरा हाल है, मगर हम कलाकारों का काम ही ऐसा है क्योंकि लोगों को दिखाना, भीड़ इकट्ठी करना। जब से पिछला लॉकडाउन लगा उसमें भी कलाकार मर गए, बिल्कुल ही खाने को नहीं। अब लॉकडाउन लगाया तो बिल्कुल खाने को नहीं, काम नहीं, कलाकार जाएं तो कहाँ जाएं। तो प्लीज़ हम आप लोगों से रिक्वेस्ट करते हैं कि कलाकारों के लिए भी कुछ सोचें ताकि कलाकार भी एक अपना अच्छा जीवन गुजारें।
कलाकार का जीवन एक खुद से ही नहीं, पूरी संसार से जुड़ा हुआ है। और हम संसार, जितने भी कलाकार संसार से जुड़े हुए हैं, लेकिन हम कलाकारों की तो कुछ पहचान ऐसी है, हमारा काम ही ऐसा है कि जब तक भीड़ नहीं होगी तब तक कोई हमारा प्रोग्राम नहीं देखेगा, तब तक मज़ा नहीं आएगा। और इस महामारी में, इस बीमारी में, कोरोना वायरस में भीड़ घटना नामुमकिन है।
स्कूलें भी बंद हो गई, कॉलेज भी बंद हो गई, कुछ गुजारा वहाँ से भी चल जाता था,
इवेंट वगैरह
कहीं वहाँ जाके बच्चों को सिखाते थे, उसमें कुछ हो जाता था। अब स्कूल भी बंद है, कॉलेज भी बंद है, शो हमें मिल नहीं रहे, प्रोग्राम मिल नहीं रहे, बस बैठे हैं सरकार के भरोसे बैठे। सरकार बस कुछ लोग यहाँ मदद भी कर रहे हैं, हमारी हेल्प भी कर रहे हैं, राशन की, किसी भी चीज़ की, लेकिन सरकार के लिए तो हम बिल्कुल, सरकार ने तो हमें बिल्कुल नज़रों से ही दूर कर रखा है कि कोई कठपुतली कॉलोनी भी थी या नहीं थी। हम लोग यहाँ से लंदन, पेरिस, जर्मनी, कोरिया, ताइवान सब जगह गए, हिंदुस्तान का नाम लेके हिंदुस्तान का नाम रोशन करेंगे।
हालांकि हमारी
हम काय का रोशनी करेंगे।
यहाँ से विदेशों में हमारी इतनी इज्जत होती है कि यार इतने अच्छे कलाकार, ऐसे उंगलियां देखते हैं, अरे कैसे पप्पी नचाते हो, कैसी आवाज़ है, कैसे ड्रम बजाते हो, इतनी इज्जत करते हैं, मगर घर के अंदर ही हमारी इज्जत नहीं है कलाकारों की।
मनमोहन सिंह जी गए थे जर्मनी, उनके वेलकम के लिए हमें यहाँ से बुलाया गया। 6 लोग को ग्रुप गया हमारा, 6 लोगों का, उनके वेलकम के लिए हिंदुस्तान से गए हम लोग। लेकिन यहाँ आने के बाद मनमोहन सिंह जी भी भूल गए, उनके बाद में जो भी आए कोई याद ही नहीं करता।
ये कौन चली आई हैं, इन्हें कहते हैं हीरा गुजरी। हीरा गुजरी महफिल में तशरीफ़ लाई हैं। हीरा गुजरी जी, जितनी भी प्यारी महफिल बैठी है सबको नमस्कार करिए। महफिल में जितने भी छोटे छोटे बच्चे बैठे हैं इनको भी नमस्कार करिए और दिखाइए आप अपना हुनर, जहाँ से आप आइए, राजस्थान की मिट्टी की खुशबू से। हीरा गुजरी का डांस, और अब आपके सामने नए ज़माने की तरह हमारा भी ये कठपुतली का प्रोग्राम धीरे धीरे बदलता जा रहा है। तो हीरा भाई गुजरी जी आपको डिस्को डांस दिखाएंगी। जो कि जंगल से चलकर शहर की ओर आ गए हैं, ये जोगी चंपानाथ निकले हैं तलाश में सांप के। कोई सांप मिले, बीन बजाए, सांप को पकड़े और वापस जंगल ले जाए। हे नाग देवता, क्षमा हो गई, भूल हो गई। ऐसे कलाकार को ऐसे आर्टिस्ट को जीवन दान देना चाहिए। नाग देवता इस सपेरे का जहर चूस कर इसे जीवन दान दे दीजिए। जय शिव शंकर, जय शिव शंकर। बम भोले, जय भोले शंकर, जय शंकर। अब कला
कला और कलाकारों को बचाने की जिम्मेदारी आपकी है।
Thank you. That was a truly colourful film. Absolutely loved the textures of fabrics. That's what really sprang out to me. The hope and the beauty and the expression of optimism that the artists evoked were just incredible. And thank you so much for your work. So we're now going to have a panel that's going to consist of Vijay, who's an activist and founder of the Cell Foundation, who is aiming at creating a self-sustaining colony through arts and education. We have Ruth, the CEO from the Place of War, Sean, an alumni from the Department of Anthropology at the University of Manchester, Kanali, who's a student of education at the Manchester Institute of Education, and Simon, who's a lecturer in the School of Arts, Languages and Cultures. So any of you have any questions, please think of them, and after the panel has had their reflections and discussions about the performances and the heritage of the colony, then there'll be an opportunity for question and answers. So Vijay, would you like to start?
Yeah, I think first of all, thank you so much for all of you to being here, and all the people who are joining right now. We are super excited that finally this festival is happening, Kathputli Utsav. We were waiting from last 1 year, and it's I think it's our pleasure that the most of the people, from the all over the world. I think most lot of people are watching right now. So yeah, I think I'm really grateful right now to finally that we are having this festival at this point of time.
Ruth?
Yeah, just to say, yeah, the film was amazing, and so I'm the CEO of In Place of War, and with Adele and a group of others from around the world, we came to the Kathputli Colony hosted by Vijay, and the film kind of transported me back to that time. It's a remarkable community. Vijay is an inspiring community leader who I think against a lot of challenges is piece by piece, bit by bit, managing to make a change. And I think what's really inspiring for me is the way in which the community uses arts at the core of their lives and to kind of protect and respect their cultural heritage, but also how they use the arts as a tool to give them a voice and to bring about change. So when the demolition happened in the Kathputli Colony, the reason that it made the news across the whole of India was because Vijay encouraged the artistic elements of the community to be used in the protest. And for me, that's a really inspiring way that arts can make something have a more amplified impact, and that message was able to travel across India, and the demolition was stopped because of that. So that's something that's always stayed with me as being incredibly inspiring. And when people say to me, why is the arts important? Well, it's for that reason. I think it can help a message travel. But yeah, watching the film, it just made me realise how important it is to try to help and protect the Kathputli Colony and the cultural heritage there as much as we can from afar, and made me think, it's really impressive the way in which digital technology is now playing a role in the community and helping that message to be not just a local or national conversation, but also one that we can now have globally. So yeah, it was fantastic to see the film. Thank you for putting that together, and really nice to see Vijay as well.
Thanks, Ruth. Sean?
Well, thank you, Vijay, Adele, Ruth, Aggie, all of you all for putting that film together. It was an absolute pleasure watching Jagdish ji and Santoshi and Radhaji as well, all of them perform as well. Like I was telling Ruth earlier, just before this started, how amazing it was just listening to those voices and that performance as well. And thinking about all of it, I was wondering, one couple of words that came to mind was this ideas of space and collaboration, which I think is really important as well. And Vijay also mentioned that in the initial video, they're talking about a cultural space. I think that's really important as well, because when you talk about artists and audience, where they meet is in the expression and in the performance of the artwork. Both of them together co-create that space in which the artwork is celebrated and the performance is celebrated, which is why it's important to preserve those cultural spaces, which is why the artists suffer, because that lack of that space where they were able to meet the audience and together co-create that space of celebration and preserving that tradition. And again, talking about artists working with each other, collaboration becomes really important there. So I'm hoping, like, as people contribute and support this, we see more of that. Like Vijay was talking about having residencies there, artists being able to work together, it becomes important because it sustains the artwork as well. And like Vijay reinforced in that video, it's about re-innovating. As times change, we need to adapt and evolve and learn more about the artwork that we sort of participate and engage with. That becomes really crucial to our practice as well.
Thank you. Kanali?
Hi, thank you. First of all, thank you for having me on this panel. And it's great to see all the performances. It instantly reminded me of my childhood watching this kind of performances. And the things which came into my mind actually, the Ruth says the use of art as a tool. And I guess what I am exploring is more focused on the learning center based on the community for the children who are out of school. And I guess while talking with Vijay, I came to know that how this learning center's aim is to create self-sustainable society through the means of education and art. So I'm just fascinated by the thing that how while using art, we can fill the gap between formal education and out of school children. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Simon.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing the film and for bringing this event together. I'm quite new to it, really. This is all, a bit of a revelation to me. So I probably have more questions than I have comments about it. But I think they have to do with the kinds of themes that people have already brought up, really. I'm really interested in the apparent relationship between the kind of artistic practices and the place in the sense that, it seems to spring out of this place, but also out as I understand it, a much broader geography, because people have kind of at some point migrated to that space. So it's really interesting the way that the arts practices are kind of holding the community together, but also presumably doing something for the place, making it an exciting place and to live. And also the kind of dimension there that you see of the apparent kind of long tradition and heritage that's being preserved here. And I suppose that presents all sorts of questions that I don't know, maybe this links to what Kanavi is doing for me, that was around, how do you preserve it, but also retain the possibility for it being dynamic. I mean, from my limited understanding, it seemed that these are performers with a lot of skill, and that's developed over many years. So how does that then get passed on? But like Ruth, also I was kind of quite excited and curious about how these kind of traditional practices meet like digital media, and how on the one hand that they can make the most of the potential for a much wider audience, but on the other hand also kind of retain their liveness, if you like, or their existence as a live performance tradition, and also perhaps generate a sustainable livelihoods for the artists as well, which I think is difficult for many artists all over the world who digitize their work, is to work out how to do that in a way that kind of sustains them. Anyway, just a few initial thoughts, but really, lovely to see it. Thank you.
I'll just interject there actually in terms of the community. I think we have a unique community here in terms of the intersection of activists and educators and researchers and student researchers and academia, and connecting the appreciation of the artistry of the colony through different lenses. I think so, although we're a long way away, digital has brought us closer together in terms of being able to communicate more readily and easily. So it's so to me the question is, how can academia and students and researchers combine their efforts so that we really support Vijay as a change maker and a leader within the community? And I know sometimes Vijay is under incredible pressure and does an incredible work for the community, and thinking ways of how we can utilise the scholarship of academia to support his endeavours is kind of my main question to myself and to others. And so I'll just go second round to the panellists, and if anybody in the audience has any questions, then please raise your hand and I will interject those. Anyone online has a question, then please pop it into the chat, and I will throw that in at the end of the next round of panelist observations. Vijay, would you like to go first again?
Yeah, I think I will be happy to have answering any questions if anyone have. But one thing which I can share is that I think me and Ruth at some point of time we are already trying to build something, and it's a great I think it's my pleasure to work with such creative mind people. Whenever I talk about In Place of War, a lot of people are okay, they are amazing. So something is already cooking in our mind right now. But apart from that, I think that the performance is the video. I'm telling you that only covered, I think, 10% of Kathputli Colony, because Kathputli Colony, I always say that Kathputli Colony is not a movement, it's a journey. And there's a lot in Kathputli Colony in terms of art, in terms of craft, in terms of people, in terms of learning. So yeah, I think this festival, I think why I'm super excited and also overwhelmed, because this is the first initiative from the community that this is our hosting our first own festival. I think this is the itself amazing thing, that even we are trying to, with this year we are making it online, but we really want to make it offline maybe from the coming year. So that is also cooking in our community team members and in our people's minds. So I think it's a great pleasure to have this Utsav, our own festival. So that's the one great thing. Also, this is the one beginning, I can say this is kind of opening doors where we are trying to collaborate and we are inviting more and more people to engage with us. So how we can co-create and build something great together. And we are really want to collaborate with institutions, universities, organizations. So how we can collaborate at some point of time.
Thank you. Ruth?
Yeah, so I think just a few more kind of reflections from me. I think the first one is about the conversations around space and the creation of a space in the community. So whilst the community is creativity runs throughout everybody there, from, you know, as we've seen, from dance to puppets and so on, there isn't actually a space where people can come together and be creative. So we've seen within Place of War in lots of other parts of the world the value that just having a physical space that brings everybody together can have in a community. So Vijay and I have been working together with others to look at how this could develop. And again, you know, for people watching this and wanting to be involved, there is opportunity here to help kind of with that effort and help us try to get a space going in the Kathputli Colony. And I think the other kind of reflection from me is around kind of leadership and what it is to be a community leader. And I think what was quite remarkable is during COVID, pre-COVID, the community had the challenge of being in transit, so being forcibly removed from their existing community space to a transit community which didn't seem to be kind of moving anywhere. And then obviously COVID hit, and for me, just seeing the resilience and resourcefulness of Vijay as a person kind of leading the effort in the community to keep people safe from COVID, whilst also the community not earning any income during that time. Their whole income is based around performance activity where people gather, so that was stopped straight away. So for me, seeing Vijay pivot their kind of efforts and galvanise resources for the community on such a monumental scale has just been really remarkable. And I think it shows to me what being the role of creativity within leadership, and how being creative, you can innovate, you can adapt, you can change, and when something happens you can respond really effectively, whether that be, in our case, the places we work, whether it be conflict, whether it be a gang affected community, or whether it be a humanitarian crisis or a health crisis. You are able to galvanise your people around you and use creativity as a tool to kind of actually make change and save people's lives. So that was incredible to see. And I think, you know, again, Vijay, I know how tough it was for you during that, has been in this time. But what you've achieved is remarkable. And I think, again, when we're thinking, you know, how can people watching this be involved? Again, you know, there's just a lot of support needed to help and support Vijay, essentially, and help him support his community through things like fundraising, through supporting with resources, through supporting with ideas, and, you know, etc. So I think that's it for me. It is remarkable what can be achieved, and Vijay is a superb example of a fantastic community leader.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you, Kirby. Sean?
So, I mean, there's so much potential here with the number of artists and the kind of artwork and the heritage that exists within the Kathputli Colony as well. And what's required there are facilitators like Vijay and like Ruth to help that and amplify those voices and that artwork. So thank you so much for doing that, because that is the first step, and that becomes really important to do that. And now coming to like collaboration, it becomes important for other artists, academics, people to explore different aspects of their community, much like Adele mentioned earlier, because what that does is makes it more three-dimensional. It's not just the performance there, it adds history to it, it adds character to it, it adds that sense of humanity to the performers there and to the audience as well when they come together to witness that artwork. So it's important for people to understand that in the process of collaboration is where you add depth to any point of engaging with the community or an idea, no matter, or that artwork even. So it's important to do that. So again, thank you so much, Vijay, for facilitating all of that. So like, for instance, I'm a photographer and filmmaker, and I'd be happy to collaborate as well with the Kathputli Colony with you, see what's required, and in any way I can to collaborate with you all and create something. If a lot of people come together to do that, other artists, other academics, exploring different avenues, what that does is gives them character and gives them a place in this world and helps us spread that joy that is quite clearly evident in the film that we saw as well. that sense of community that was very evident in the film. All of that becomes important, and what we can do is essentially facilitate that and amplify that to the rest of the world so we can secure Kathputli's place in arts history. That's important.
Amazing, thank you. Kanavi?
Yeah, actually, I think I'm learning more that how different aspects of this colony can be researched with the help of us like students. And the thing is that how with the help of this children's education, they integrating this arts into their curriculum and teaching how this art can be taken forward by the future generation of these artisans. So I guess that's what I have taken from with my conversation with Vijay and this film. Thank you.
Thank you, Kanavi. I look forward to seeing your dissertation. And Simon?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like there's all sorts of potential for collaboration. I suppose I'm just thinking about how that happens and how it can be a kind of fair and reciprocal exchange, really. So, I mean, I think there's all sorts of different, ways it could become at. I think there is all sorts of interesting, exciting things about the art itself, about the role of the artist in the community, or the way that communities formed, or as Ruth said, the kind of community leadership, or indeed the role of cultural spaces as well. I think these are all have all great potential. It would be exciting though for these to be kind of co-produced research projects, or projects that are meeting a number of different agendas, which I can see can be a challenge. One thing that I suppose just struck me about the idea of the cultural space as well, perhaps, is maybe the growing need for such spaces as like public space or community space becomes really marginalized. That's certainly the case in the UK, and I'm imagining it's also the case where you are. In some ways, so such community spaces become all the more important when everywhere else becomes built up. So it does seem like an important project. So yeah, again, I'm really pleased to be here and grateful to have found out more about it already today.
Thank you, Simon. Any questions or just a quick check from the audience? No, we don't. So I think we can go straight to the part that has the most probability of technical hiccups, which I believe is the live drumming performance from India. Vijay, is that all set up and ready to go? Yeah.
Yes, Adele. As I have said that, I think the recorded performance was, that everybody was saying that looks amazing, but we were not ready to say goodbye in that manner by the recorded performances. So really want to engage live with people. So our drummers are ready right now, just in front of me, and just let me get this screen towards them, and we will be there in a moment. Give me 1 second. Okay. You can say hi. Hi. Wait. Yeah. Okay. So here introducing the band which you have seen, the Indian Wedding Rockers, and this band has already performed. Hey Gi, this band has already performed, I think, in 10 to 12 countries. Adele and Ruth had honor to had a lunch with them, I think, once when they were in India. So right now we are live from here and saying everyone hi, and we are starting our performance. These are the drummers which we used to play in our weddings. So I think nothing more to say. I think let's start with them. Thank you so much, guys. My drummer said that the people who are online, watching online, offline, the beat they are playing, I think this is gonna be some dancing moves right now. So we really want all you people to have some moves, have some dance, and just get through everything over there. So everybody on panel, Ruth, Somik, Karnavi, and Adele. So finally this is happening.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for joining. And I think this is the end from here, from Kathputli Colony. And we are really, thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. I don't want to say things, I just want to leave on a high. Thank you. I loved it. Thank you very much. Bye.
You danced very well. Everyone likes your dance, Adele, over here.
I'll come in person one time. Bye.
Bye bye.